What's up guys, I'm Jack and this is Davey. And welcome to another video. So just going to give you guys a heads up, since my last Elden Ring video did pretty well, I'm going to do more Elden Ring challenge runs, but I'm not leaving Hades 2 behind. I still love this game and I want to do as many challenge runs in this as I possibly can. It just really helps to have some variety in the content that I make. It makes it more fun for me personally, and I really enjoy both games, so yeah, just wanted to let you guys know that. Now as for today's video, this is Hades 2 without free will. What does that mean? That means that for every single choice that I got in this run, I used a random number generator to decide that choice. From the arcana, to the keepsakes, to the weapon, to the aspect on the weapon, to where we actually go, the locations, every single room, every single boon, every single choice is dictated by a number generator. And this was actually a tough challenge, I'm not gonna lie. It took me probably 10 to 15 tries to actually get a winning run here, surprisingly. Just because, well, any sort of somewhat cohesive build is a lot better than a completely random build that has no synergy whatsoever. Plus, if I didn't get the Death Defiance Arcana from the random number generator, it was basically a lost run right there. So yeah, I lost a lot, actually. I made it to the bosses, either Kronos or Eris, multiple times, and just, I either didn't have any Death Defiances left, or my build didn't do enough damage, and they would end up taking me out. So yeah, this was a tough run. All that being said, it was really fun too. I had a blast trying out completely random builds, so I'm really glad that I did this. I know somebody recommended this challenge to me like weeks ago, and I finally got around to doing it, and I'm really happy that I did. Now, I'm not going to go over every single arcana that we got during this run because, well, it's a lot of them. The way that I did this is that the way we're deciding what number goes to which choice is left to right and up to down. So left being the lowest number, up being the lowest number, and then right and down being the higher numbers. And in some instances it's a bit subjective, so the way that I did this is wherever Melinaway is facing, her left hand side is the first choice. I hope all of that made sense. I'm not sure if it did, but, well, it made sense to me, and that's what matters. Now for the keepsakes, we have 27 choices, so the random number generator is between 1 and 27, and for that we get 10. And 10's not too bad. It gives us the white antler, which gives us some extra crit damage, but we can only have a maximum of 30 health. But, you know, for the first region, we get a 20% chance to deal critical hit damage, which is really ridiculous and does a lot of damage. Next up, there are 5 different weapons, so 1 in 5, we get number 2, and there are 3 choices for each weapon, 3 aspects, and for that we get 3. So we get the twin blades and the aspect of Pan on that, and with that just allows our special to seek out enemies who are within our cast. Of course, we have to let the random number generator choose our location, and that means we're going up to Mount Olympus. Now, I was personally hoping for an underworld run just because, well, I personally think the underworld runs are a bit more interesting, but that's just me. I think they're probably more fun to play through in my opinion, but that's just because I've done way too many overworld Mount Olympus runs. So now as far as the weapon, I haven't really used it too much, so I don't have too much experience with it. We're kind of just making this move set up as we go and seeing what works for us. The extra critical chance from the white antler is really noticeable, really nice. Now we did get the arcana that allows us to change the reward in the next room, and since that's a choice, we of course have to let the random number generator decide. And the first choice is yes, we have to alter the room, but the second choice is no, we do not, so we go straight in. So this reward is going to be Demeter, and I'm not too mad about that. I really like Demeter's boons. Now it does suck that we only have 30 health. That is not great, so we're just going to have to try to play our best and take as little damage as possible. And thankfully we did get the Death Defiance Arcana, which is really nice because it gives us 3 extra lives, plus the extra one from Toula. Now we get a couple of good choices from Demeter right here, and I wasn't really hoping for any in particular. They're all decent, but we choose number 1. and that gives us extra special damage as well as freeze upon hitting enemies with our special. not bad. Oh, so as for this big room, we're going left to right, so the big heart, that's number 1, the 2 hearts, that's number 1, and then it goes all the way around to the other end of the arena, which is number 9. So, and since there are so many choices, I also made it so that we choose 3 ones that we don't take, rather than 6 that we do take, just to make it a little bit quicker. So the 3 rooms that we're not going in are 7, 8, and 9, but we are going in every single other room to get the pylons taken care of. And immediately upon entering the first room, I lose half of my health and almost die. Yeah, it's not great having just 30 health, but we'll have to make do. I've had much worse builds with this challenge run already. And the nice thing about this is we get some extra backstab damage. And with the backstab plus a crit, that does 900 damage per hit, which is insane. And then of course when one of these extra doors pops up, that's another choice. Unfortunately, we do not get to go inside of it and get the reward from there, but that's okay. Next up is Demeter, and I forgot to alter the heart, but that's okay. We're going to alter Demeter right here, and we get Zeus. And that's our last altar, so from here on out, whatever reward is shown, that's what we're going to get. Zeus and Demeter are both pretty solid gods, so I'm not mad about that at all. Oh, and by the way, this footage was taken after the most recent Hades 2 update, so the gameplay as of the time of release is current, though that is always subject to change with their next big update. And I really like what they did with Zeus's new magic regeneration boon. I think it's really solid. It's so much nicer than the slow regen that you had before, and almost no drawbacks too. It's great. So it just spawns in a little ball of lightning that you can pick up and it restores all of your magic. There's almost no drawbacks. It's amazing. And yeah, that's the boon that we got from Zeus right there. So not too bad. We have a good special boon right now and we have a good magic regeneration boon. Hello, Daisy. What was that? Hi. Now, for the rest of this first area, it's pretty easy. Again, getting that extra crit damage is just so nice. That 20%, that's 1 every 5 hits we get a critical hit, which just does so much damage. Right here we do get another choice between an extra door and just going out. But this time, well, we actually get it. Since it's on our left hand side, when we choose the number, we get to go in. And these extra rooms are just awesome. They just give you either a tiny reward or actually something meaningful like extra health or mana. And right here we get some max health upgrades, so definitely will take that. Not complaining whatsoever. Now I may start skipping ahead a little bit. You guys get the build so far. I'll show you the rewards that we get, and then the boss fight against Polyphemus, the first big boss of this run. We do Hephaestus' room next, and from him we unfortunately don't get a very good boon. We just get some extra armor, but it's better than nothing, I suppose. So from the Selene room up next, we just get Lunar Ray, and this is probably my least favorite hex. It just makes us so vulnerable, and it doesn't even do that much damage. So I'm just not a huge fan of it. We did use it a couple times, and we got some good damage off to some enemies, but just not a huge fan of that hex. Next up is a Zeus room, and the Fates have seen fit to grant us with Storm Ring. And this augments our cast to strike enemies with lightning bolts whenever they're inside of it, though only 1 enemy at a time. It's not bad. Definitely not the best boon we could have gotten, but certainly not the worst. And with that, we are moving on to Charon's shop. Hopefully, the Fates will give us a good choice here, but we'll see. And of course, I'm only allowing myself 1 purchase, and from that, we actually get a Hestia boon. So yeah, extra boons, I will certainly always take that. And we get the first option, which turns out to be Sit Sprint. Pretty useless. I mean, it is nice that it destroys incoming projectiles, but I just never really get too much use out of it when I use it, so it's not my favorite sprint boon, that's for sure. Next up we have Polyphemus, and while we don't have the worst build in the game, I also don't fancy my chances with only 30 HP. Most of his attacks will take out just about half of our health, so if we don't perfectly dodge everything, we're kinda in for some trouble. So the double-edged sword that we are currently rocking is of course the White Antler, which only allows us to have 30 HP, but the extra 20% chance to crit is awesome. Now we do lose our first Death Defiance here, and that kinda sucks, but we still have 3 others, so that's okay. We can make it work. Due to that extra crit chance, we actually do a tremendous amount of damage to Polyphemus right here, and we're able to melt him pretty quickly with this build. Now, I was going to mention this earlier, but I completely forgot to. I originally made Toula and Phrynos a choice that had to be made by the random number generator, but then I realized that I love Toula, and I don't want to take Phrynos with me because Toula is my favorite, so yeah, that's not a choice. Sorry. But do keep an eye on his health bar. We really do melt him. Like, this is a pretty fun build with all the extra crit damage and with the fast attacks. It's fun. I am just looking forward to the extra health that we are going to get after we defeat this big guy and swap keepsakes. And yeah, after every big boss fight, I am going to go ahead and choose another random keepsake. Just because that makes it a bit more interesting, though. When we go up to Mount Olympus, it is only one other choice, because there's only 2 big bosses. If you don't count Charybdis, at least. This time we get number 8, and that's just Charon's purse, so gives us some extra coins, and that's not a problem at all. I'll always take some extra money. And honestly, if you guys want to send me your credit card info, that would be nice. Just leave it in the comments. And if you want to Venmo me too, like all of your money, that'd be great too. Thanks. And with Hermes' shop, I am allowing myself to buy one of his boons as well, or no, not boons, but one of his packages. That sounds kind of strange, talking about Hermes' package, but yes, we get to choose a package from him, and with that, we don't really get anything good. And I apologize that this video took so long to come out. I have been doing a pretty crazy Elden Ring challenge this whole week, so I haven't had too much time to edit this one. But I'm really hoping that this next Elden Ring challenge, when it comes out, is going to be really, really good. It was a crazy challenge. Probably took me like, I want to say 13 and a half hours to get all the footage I needed, because I did the main game and the DLC. Now I do also want to give you guys a heads up. I do have a big trip coming up in a couple weeks, so from mid-July all the way to the end of July, I'm going to Europe, and well, I'm hoping to have some extra videos made for that, though, you know, I might miss a week, which would kind of suck. My mom is coming in town for the entirety of this week, so I don't know how much work I'm going to get done on extra videos and stuff. But I'm hoping to have some videos made for those 2 weeks that I'm away, and then hopefully I will have enough time to make another video when I get back so that you guys won't have to miss any content at all. But we'll see what happens. No promises. Now from Hermes right here, we do get the choice of a couple boons, and we get number 3, so that just gives us extra attack power every time we slay an enemy. Not a bad one. So in the next room, we do get a visit from Heracles, and what they did in this most recent update is they made less enemies spawn in during his encounters, which is actually really nice. It helps to speed up the game a bit. Before this patch, I remember it would almost feel like an infinite spawning round of enemies, and it just took forever, so I'm glad that they made that change. It feels much better and quicker right now. We do manage to defeat more enemies than Heracles, and then we complete one more encounter to get some Psyche, and we move on to the next room. Now, once we clear out a few enemies within this room, we will get the choice between extra health and extra magic. Now, of course, I always hope for extra health, just because I don't like dying. But unfortunately, you guys will see in a minute, when we do the random number generator, we get number 2, which means that we, unfortunately, have to take some extra magic. It was at this time that Hermes' package did get delivered to us, and it was also just some extra Psyche, which does nothing to us. So with that, we keep moving on, and once we clear this room, we are given a single path, and that is for even more extra magic. Not super helpful at this point, I'll be honest, but I suppose it could be worse. We thankfully get a break from the constant battle and bloodshed, and we visit with one of our friends, Circe. Now, Circe offers us some pretty cool stuff, I feel like, but also not that good in the long run. We do end up getting, I think, the best one that we could have gotten, which makes us a little bit smaller, but it allows us to move 15% faster and to dodge 15% of incoming attacks, which is pretty helpful. That's probably my favorite boon that she offers. So let me know if you guys have any other Hades 2 challenge run videos that you want me to do. I do have a couple other ideas, but I'm starting to run low on challenge run ideas, so let me know if you have anything. Also, let me know if you have any other games that you want me to attempt challenge runs in. Again, I always like to diversify what games I play, so the more the merrier, to be honest. This next choice is between bones and nectar, and we get some nectar. Doesn't really affect us during the run, but I do like having that. It's good to have for any extra gifts that we might need to give to other gods. Now, what's really nice about this is that during this encounter, we get a visit from Icarus, and, well, he has some of my favorite boons in the game. His boon that gives you a flat 50 extra damage to any Omega attacks is really awesome when paired with the Omega attack of the Moonstone Axe, which allows you to hit a bunch in a row. So every single time you do a slash with that charged up Omega attack, it does an extra 50 damage and a big explosion. It's awesome. He also does speed up the encounters a bit because all of his attacks do an insane amount of damage. I love this guy. Plus, I think that him and Malinoe have some really good chemistry, and I think that would be a really good romance option in the future. As you guys can see right here, Lunar Ray sucks. I don't like it. Actually, it's probably good. You can probably make it good, but I don't like it. So Icarus up here gives us some good choices, and, well, I wouldn't say that we got the worst one, but we got the best one that we could have gotten. No, they're all pretty good, but what this one does is it gives us 40 armor, which is nice, and also when that armor breaks, we do a massive amount of damage to whatever is near us when that armor breaks. So if Eris is next to us and she breaks our armor, we're just going to do a heck of a lot of damage to her, possibly taking her into the next phase. We get to choose another one of Hermes' packages, and from this we just get some ashes, which gives us 5 extra health, but I didn't expedite it, so we're unfortunately not going to get it. We also stop at Charon's shop and thankfully get a Demeter boon from him, which is pretty nice. And that we get number 2, which is going to be a cast augment. It puts a cyclone during our cast, so not bad. It's nice because we have the lightning augment from Zeus and the cyclone from Demeter, so our cast does a decent amount of damage now. Not too shabby. But we do run into Eris, and I did lose to her a couple times during my attempts to these runs, and, well, I'm ready to get my revenge. So we start off by hitting her with a few attacks and charging up our Lunar Ray, and it actually did a pretty decent amount of damage to her. Not too mad about that. But again, it just makes us super vulnerable, so just not a huge fan about that part. Now, we still have 3 Death Defiances, and I did manage to amass a decent amount of health, plus the extra armor, of course, so we're looking pretty good. We also have, honestly, way too much magic. I really don't think that we need that much, but we didn't really get much of a choice, did we? And this is actually one of the challenges that I would recommend to anybody watching this video. It was a lot of fun to just try completely random builds without any thought or effort put into it. It makes it a lot more difficult, and it kind of forces you to adapt to whatever boons or upgrades that you get, as well as the enemies that you are fighting with said boons and upgrades. It was definitely a learning experience, and it took a lot of time for me to figure out that I needed to play more safe than normal, because generally my build was not as good as any of my normal builds. But eventually, through a lot of patience and determination, and way too many tries, honestly, it should not have taken any more than 3 tries, but it took me like 15. We did eventually get her down pretty low, and we're about ready to finish her off and finish this challenge up. Now, since I do have a couple Death Defiances to spare, I decided to just say F this, and, well, I play a bit more aggressively. I'm not too worried about it at this point, though it probably would have been a lot smarter to continue to play it safe rather than just go all out. Again, that Zeus mana regeneration boon is so nice. It just restores all of your mana whenever you need it. It's awesome. That is probably one of my new favorite boons that they've added into this game. We lose another one of our Death Defiances right there, but we still have 2 more and she's on her last leg. Only a few more attacks and this fight should be done. There we go. Again, this took way longer than it should have. 15 tries is pretty ridiculous. I thought I was good at this game, but I guess I'm not, considering how many times I lost. But it was still a really fun challenge, and I really enjoyed doing it. Again, would highly recommend that you guys try it out yourselves. I just used random number generator on Google. Super easy. But, like always, thank you for watching. If you want to subscribe, I do always appreciate that, but if you don't, your viewership is quite enough for me. I hope you guys have a good one.